Hello, everyone. My name is Fariba Parsa. I am the founder and president of Women's eLearning eLeadership. The WELL organization is a nonprofit organization in the state of Virginia. We empower Iranian women in leadership skills through online leadership courses, mentorship, and global networking. We also provide a digital library, both in Farsi and in English. If you're interested in WELL organization, you can visit our website. It is wellfordemocracy.org. You can write to us if you want to be an intern or voluntary with and collaborate with our organization. One of the other work we do is make interview leaders and experts to talk about their work. And you can find it in our YouTube channel. Please subscribe our YouTube channel to be get information about the new interview. Today, we are very honored to have a talk with Mr. Matt Hogg. Mr. Hogg is a writer, a veteran fundraiser, and educator. Matt has taught in graduate programs worldwide in Africa, Asia, Europe, and the United States. He has also provided fundraising and nonprofit management to several major companies and organizations. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation. My first question is, can you tell a little more about your work, your nonprofit, and what has motivated you to do what you're doing?
Well, what is motivating me? Yeah, I'd say, I got bored one day, but that won't be entirely true. No, I really have a commitment to the nonprofit sector. I've worked in it for a good portion of my life, and I like being able to impact a lot of organizations, and my teaching is a great way to do it. And I also, honestly, I enjoy teaching. So Nonprofit.Courses, it's got .courses, kind of like .org and .com, right? It's the top level domain. I've managed to gather about 10,000 videos from more than, I'd say 250 contributors from around the world on how to manage nonprofits. I do everything really except for how to run your mission. So, whatever your mission is, obviously you do that, but we're talking about fundraising, we're talking about volunteer management, accounting, HR, anything, all those things that people need to actually run their nonprofit well, from startup to mature nonprofits. It all came out of my teaching, like you mentioned. I've taught in a number of places around the world for a handful of universities, and I really found that my students really liked video. I'd give them a paper, I'd give them a video, and I'd get good feedback. I mean, get good feedback on both, but I get good feedback on the video. It was a way that certain students, not all, but a lot of students, really tuned into, literally, about whatever that topic was. And so I started making playlists. I started gathering certain subjects together on YouTube and said, hey, check out this playlist on whatever this subject was. And then I discovered that .courses was a new top-level domain. Nonprofit wasn't taken, and did that, and then started reaching out to some of the content creators of these videos and said, hey, do you mind if I link out to your content? And that's really what this is. It aggregates content and links out to it. And I want to make it, and I think I have made it, a good win-win between the content creators and the website. So just about all the content, well, I'd say 80 to 85, maybe 90% of the content is free. It's open access. I wanted to make sure that I didn't have barriers to people getting to it. Some of the content is paid. And that usually is by the behest of the person who made the content, and the website gets a portion of the fee if it's a paid content piece. And otherwise, like I like to tell people, click early and often. It's a television kind of model in that the more viewers, the more users you get, then I can go to advertisers and say, hey, look at all the people who are doing this. I also have two emails every week. One, I have a live events calendar. So if somebody's doing a webinar or a seminar someplace or something, they put it on the calendar, and then every Monday you'll see a summary to your mailbox saying, hey, these are the webinars coming up this week, check them out. And then on Thursday I put out a topical email. I take one of these silly calendars for the year, like I think it was National Speaking Sentences Day a few weeks ago. And I say, okay, so there's content on the website that talks about communications. Go check it out in honor of National Speaking Sentences Day. Things like that. Try to make it a little fun.
It's amazing with 10,000 courses. I cannot imagine how much donates. That must be a lot of work and cost and energy. I wonder how could you create so many videos?
Well, I don't create them. They're created by the folks out there. And that was kind of part of my philosophy in the beginning, is that I didn't want to reinvent the wheel. I mean, I could go and make videos, and I have made a handful of them, on
Yeah.
20, maybe on the whole site. But instead of me being the creator, I make other people, bring them to front, and they're the creators. And so I connect out to their content. And they're happy for it. That gets them more visibility. Everything is educational. I really no infomercials, and nobody's telling how to run their software program or something like that. That's good for their website. But yeah, every content creator gets their own page and list of, their content is listed there, and everything's indexed. So you go to the content search page and find it, and off you go. And I really try to have a lot of variety on, like, for example, major gift fundraising. Right? There are a lot of content on major gift fundraising, because you need to hear different voices in this. It might be that one really resonates with you over another, or for the content creators, it's kind of like I don't know if you know that similar businesses, when they are close to each other, like fast food restaurants, McDonald's and Burger King, bring more business to each other when they're close, like across the street, than if each of them were far away from each other. And that's the idea, to bring people close together in one place so everybody gets more information and has a place to go, as opposed to different places all over the web.
Yeah, that's genius. That's wonderful because we pay a lot of money, but we have to pay to get coaching or supporting for fundraising, and then that is the opportunity to get for free.
Yeah, well, and
Yeah.
truth be told, a lot of these folks would love for you. I mean, they put out the content so you can see how they think and do. And for a certain number of people, they're going to say, hey, I saw your video on Nonprofit.Courses. I really like you. Can you help me? And then they get engaged in a consulting, I mean, which is great. I want that to happen. I want everybody to benefit from this. But if all you need is a short video, and by the way, a course, put that in quotes, I define as anything from less than 5 minutes to over 5 hours. I really am flexible on that. A lot of people like really short content. I'm happy to have it. And a lot of people want a full-blown, in-depth experience. And so we got that too.
Yeah, okay, that's good to know that. Um, yes, and I have another question about could you give us some advice for a new start or nonprofit organization for fundraising. One of the major problem is we think we don't have money and we
Mm.
cannot do activities because we say, yeah, okay, we have to first have some funding. We need to there are some expenses to start and run a nonprofit. What is your advice for all the groups? And we have
Yeah.
contact with Iranian women. have ideas to start, but the problem, I think the challenge is the money. What is your advice?
Well, okay, so and by the way, I have a background of a degree in fundraising, so I'm, just so that folks know that I'm trying to speak with a little bit of experience and authority here. That you got to start as there's kind of a saying, inside, top down, inside out. And what that means is that you have to start at the top of your organization, and sometimes even at the top of the donor pyramid, and we can talk about that in a bit too. But the top of the organization, which means that the people who are your board, the folks who are closest to you, it's really important that all of the people who are intimately involved with the organization make a charitable gift to it. Now, that sounds like, a lot of people, well, I joined this and I didn't think I'd have to give. No, no, no. You have to give. And it's really important because, as I tell folks, why should somebody give you money for your fun? We'll call the mission, whatever it is, fun, right? What you do, if you're not as dedicated and contributing to it yourself. Now, I'm not suggesting, some organizations will have certain gift levels and all that. And if you're a mature organization that's been around for a while, then that's great, right? But everybody's got to be in at the level at which they feel committed to that organization, given their personal means. And so for some people, that's going to be $25. For some people, it's going to be $25,000, right? Whatever that is, means something to them, that says, yeah, I'm in. Because what people, when you ask other people, right? First of all, if you go to, in a formal situation, to say a private foundation, they're going to say, hey, has all your board given? They're not going to give unless you're all in, right? So that's number one. But number two, and just so you know, there's an organization, in fact, the report just came out a little bit ago, called Giving USA. I encourage everybody, go to givingusa.org, probably own .com too, but go to givingusa.org and look up, download the free report. And they're going to send you other stuff, and it's all good. This is a perfectly great, reputable organization, been around for 50 some years. And they have this basic report that gives you where money is going to in the US, and this is all American based, and where money comes from in the US for charitable giving. And you will see that far above anything else, individuals, people like you and me, give more money, like almost 70% of the money, charitable gifts in the United States, than organizations, right? Now, it's important to keep in mind that also, like a foundation, early in my career, I kind of came up with this concept in my head that because I had a company nearby us, a dairy company, and they were contributing to the organization I was part of. And I said, so, how's this work for you? And he says, well, basically, mom and dad, it was a family business, go around the kitchen, sit at the kitchen table and figure out who we're giving money to based on the applications. So it was all paper back then and all that, right? But I call them kitchen table foundations, small family foundations. So now you inch up that foundation scale, the individual scale, because basically they're individuals, right? Except they're giving through a foundation, goes up a little, maybe to 75%. And then if they have a closely held company, like if they own a car dealership or if they own, whatever it is they own, right? Now that person closely controls that charitable giving, even though in the Giving USA stats, it might show up as a company. Now we're getting close to 80, maybe 90%, right? And then you throw in bequests, after passing gifts, and that really boosts it up. So point is here that individuals is where the money is, but you have to form relationships with them. So the place to start, if you're a new nonprofit, is to ask yourself, okay, now that we've all given, right? Because they will ask you, somebody who has money will say, gee, Matt, have you made a gift to your nonprofit? You're on the board. Have you made a gift, right? They're going to want to know that. So you better be able to say yes. But now start looking at your network, the people you know. There are three things you need when you are in any kind of giving, and it doesn't matter what kind of giving this is. And I like to say this, especially when I work overseas, because it really kind of gets people thinking, right? 3 letters, CIA. Right?
Yes.
Now, of course, like, oh, wait, what's the CIA have to do with giving? Well, the CIA has nothing to do with giving. It's capacity, interest, access.
Yeah.
Okay. The person has to have the capacity to make the gift you want. If you want to get $25, they have to have $25, right? If you want $25,000, they have to have $25,000, right? Do they have the capacity? Interest, right? We're going to get to that. Access. You have to be able to get to them. So if you have their email address, that's one kind of access, right? You can ask them online, or a crowdfunding campaign if you have if you're linked to them Facebook or something, or you have their address and phone number, you can see them in person. That's another kind of access, right? But it all starts with interest. It all starts with somebody having the interest in what you do. Because it doesn't matter, somebody could have the capacity to do $100,000 for you, but if they don't have really any kind of interest, you're lucky if you get $100. They're just going to say, go away. Let me give you a check for $100, or I'm not even going to bother with you, because they really don't care about what you're doing. So you have to start with interest. The other reason to start with interest is because if that person who normally would give $100 to you, right? If they really love you, if they have serious interest, then they might give you $1,000, because they will stretch because they think your mission is worthy. So capacity, interest, access. You have to back that up with other things. So folks need to have a reason to give. We all buy, think of what you buy out in the economy generally, right? Like a new car, okay?
Yeah.
You might go and say, wow, I love that car. I love the color. I love how it fits on me. I love how it looks, right? I love the prestige it may or may not give me, right? It's a lifestyle choice. People buy emotionally, but they justify logically. Because then you go home and you say to whoever you're responsible to at home, your cat or whoever it is, right? Say, oh, but I love this car because look, it gets good gas mileage. It fits all of us in it. You start going down the logical reasons, right? Now you fell in love with the car, right? But now you have to justify it logically. This brings me to another thing that you need to have when you're starting to raise money. It's called a case for giving. So you need to have some sort of document for all the reasons why giving is important, and that why your organization is the most important organization to address whatever problem it is that your mission addresses. It could be any number of reasons, right? But why are you the best person for it? Or why is your organization the best organization for that? That is key. Now, once you gather all those things together, that's called a case. You are going to then, right after that, start slicing little bits of it away to make your case in specific manners for specific people. You might have 5 of the best reasons in the world, but one reason really appeals to this person. Or you're writing a letter, and so you take another one of those reasons and you put it in that letter. So the idea is to build up that the rationale and the emotional and logical rationales for why you should give.
Yeah.
Now,
I think the challenge is interest. And there are many individuals or philanthropists are interested in women's empowerment, rights, democracy. But when I contact them, say, yeah, I'm supporting this and this organization, and I imagine they get maybe hundreds of emails every day.
oh yeah,
Many different organizations, and every organization is say, please support us, contribute, donate, and you just get bombarded so many organizations.
Yeah.
And how would you advise to have this connection and then this like we need to not interest they are interested. Of course they want to support women.
Hmm.
So there is no question about that and they're interesting. But it's the question is they want to support and they think this, for example, my organization, this
Yeah.
organization makes a difference and I want even I they support many of them support many other organizations, but it's come or the one plus one is you have so many and then you're also too we want to support you to also see how it's going on. So what do you think we can do to create this some kind of connection and relationship?
Okay. You're right on spot there. The word is relationship, but to whom do you build those relationships? And that is, you kind of gave me a softball pitch right into the next thing I was going to say, which is create what's called an avatar. Now,
Oh, okay.
avatar. What's an avatar? Well, we think of the movie, right? Blue people.
Yes.
Avatar, sure. No, but it's kind of the same. So the idea is to describe before you start going out, we've made your case now, right? To whom will that case appeal the most? And then start describing them in terms of all sorts of demographics, right? Are they Iranian expats? Are they men or women? Did they have an experience somehow that you would only know about that maybe would relate to that, right? Whatever it is, right? Start describing that person, your ideal donor, in detail. You will find, because this is a brain thing, right? You will see these people more. This is called the reticular activation system. So what does that mean? Think of the car you own, right? And say, well, gee, are there a lot of those cars out there? Do I see a lot? Right? Well, the answer is probably yes. Right? You see, and in fact, you might even notice the nuances where, oh, there's a 19 or yeah, right, a 2025 new model versus the 2020 that I own, right? Because it has a little bit of a crimp here and a different headlight there, or whatever it is, right? The point is that what you've got that design standard in your brain. Once you just define who it is your ideal donor, now you start seeing more of them. It's almost like magic. It's really weird. So really get down to the nitty gritty about who it is your best person to make a gift. Now, if you already have some donors, this becomes kind of a little more sophisticated exercise because there's a difference between who you think your ideal is and who you really are getting money from. And you can work with both of those, right? I worked with an organization a while ago. It was an environmental organization, and they said, oh, our ideal donor is this urban person who comes from this particular neighborhood. And he kind of described what we might today call a hipster, right? And then we looked into the database and we saw, no, their donors are moms who live in the suburbs.
Oh.
Now, why did that happen? First of all, it happened because they didn't look at their database. They didn't look at who was given.
Oh.
Number two, it happened because they had this ideal of who they wanted to serve. And these are those hipster types are the ones when they did a festival in the city would come up to their table and connect with them, but they weren't donors. So ask yourself back to CIA, right? Who has the capacity to give what you want? Who can you get access to? And then how you define that interest and work that into this avatar, this ideal person. You will never find the avatar person, but it is fun. It's a fun exercise, a useful exercise. In fact, you might even get to the point, and we're talking to a lot of organizations in this video, of dressing somebody else up, somebody to come in and actually look like that person for you, to give everybody else the impression about, oh yeah, we're looking for that person if they have some kind of distinctive dress or something like that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Um,
Now, something else I might throw out,
yeah.
right, is that people will often ask, how do you ask for money?
Yeah.
Right? Right.
I
It
don't
act
I don't like it to ask for money,
No, of course nobody asks. But
that's
why
also
don't you
cultural things. We don't
worry about why don't you like to ask for what how does it make you feel?
it's like a begging, yeah, I please, yeah, that is
Okay.
a
Let
help.
me take
Yeah.
let me take that away from you. Here's what, okay, begging. Who for whom if you are begging on the street, for whom do you beg?
Uh,
Any hmm?
for yeah, on the street,
Yeah, if you were asking for somebody for money on the street, for whom are you begging?
yeah, for Iranian women,
Well,
for
no. You'd probably be begging for you. If you had problems, you would be
yeah,
begging,
okay, there's
want
one
the money
person.
to come to
Yeah,
you, right?
yeah.
There's a big difference between begging and fundraising. Begging is for you.
Mm,
Fundraising is for our cause, for the person. Now that brings us to another avatar here.
mm,
So you need to have a mental picture, an avatar of the person you are serving. What does that Iranian woman look like? And what are her characteristics and what are her issues, right? Now, where begging is you to me
mm,
for you or for me, right? If I'm begging, I'm saying, Fariba, please give me money because I need it.
mm,
Fundraising is you to me for that person we're serving. You're bringing the resources, I'm bringing the program or whatever I'm doing, and we are partnering together to help that person. If folks write these numbers down, this is really important. 1, 2, 1, 4, 1. 1 to 1, me to you,
yeah,
for that one person we're serving.
okay.
This is huge because now instead of me begging to you, we're coming together on equal terms
Mm,
because remember back to the case, you are the most important program that can help that person you're serving. You have to go to it with that almost evangelical religious feeling, right? That this is hugely important and that I need to help those people, right? And to go to the person that has the means and the interest and say, hey, this is really important. We need to get together to help that person and bring them into your circle, not because you don't want them to give and go. You want them to give and stay and feel like they not only did well, but are part of your world that you are going to continue to communicate with so that they can make a difference for them because they have a reason they want to give too.
yeah, they want to contribute to make a change, fulfill their life.
Okay, let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
Everybody who's watching this video, I encourage you to get a book called The 7 Faces of Philanthropy. I have a video, I reviewed it on my website. The 7 Faces of Philanthropy was written in the, I guess, early 1990s. It's a little old, but the principles are really gold. They're really good. The point is that this couple of the academic study, right, interviewed these people that had significant means to make gifts. And they found that they characterized 7 different reasons, kind of fundamental reasons why people make charitable gifts. So some people make them. I'm going to test me to see if I can remember all 7. So some people make them because they are communitarians. They belong to some sort of community. And back then it was like, your neighborhood, your physical neighborhood. Now it might be some worldwide community based on like Facebook or something, right? But they're giving because giving to their community is important to them. Some people are devout. They give because they feel giving is an imperative from God that they should be carrying out, right? Other people are investors. So they're giving because they see that their gift makes something else happen, which then increases something, whatever that is, right? I think socialites. Socialites are the ones who give because they want to be seen positively in their social circles.
Mm.
Your cause is their cause, right? And they bring their friends in who have their own causes, right? And you are like their example of how they feel good about themselves. And then there are the people who are the dynasts. The dynasts are the ones that dynast, dynasty, are the ones who grow up learning about philanthropy and giving. And they give because it's something their family's always done. And so it's kind of an obligation. Um, I know I've forgotten one. Anyhow, 7 Faces of Philanthropy, because what you'll find is that once you kind of get to know this, and I don't know if the ratios of these things have changed or not, right? But it's a really good paradigm for people to look at, to say, okay, this person in front of me, what is their motivation for giving? And then in the book, they also give ideas on how you can connect with that motivation to help them meet their goals while you're meeting your goals. Because philanthropy, giving, isn't really a two-way street, right? They're giving you money, but they have goals for that. And so it's important for you as an organization to help them meet their goals as long as they align with yours while you are meeting your goals.
That's a win-win.
Yeah, to make it a win-win. Exactly.
Yeah. The other nonprofit organization we apply government to for donation.
Yeah.
And one of the advice I've heard that they rather organization work together because they are very small, similar organization. They do the same, and then they apply for the same grant, and it makes it so difficult for them. For also the administration, it's very expensive to give donation, small amount money to small organization.
Sure.
Right, they always say, yeah, try to make partnership as more organization work together, and then you have more chance to get a funding. So could you give us some advice how we can create partnership with a similar organizations? Usually it's a competition. We do the same. If it is courses with the other organization, the same courses. We say we are the best. They say we are the best. That's but instead of that's I think wasting so much sources. It's better we collaborate because we have the same target group, the same sometimes very similar um, uh, work that we can. So can you give us some advice how we can create this partnership and collaboration?
Yeah, the first thing I'll say to anybody who gets into this is relax. And what I mean by that is you are right on spot. People get hyper competitive and, oh, it's for us or for you and whatever. And, the nonprofits are actually disadvantaged for, I'll call it, I don't know, legal reasons, but structural issues, I'll call them. If two businesses want to get together for some sort of partnership, and you see this happen all the time, what do? They form an LLC. They can form a business between them that they both have share in. There is no model for that among nonprofits, at least in the United States. So you can't so what ends up is one of them ends up taking the burden versus the other when it comes to all a lot of the paperwork and a lot of the administration once it comes in, and even who gets credit, right? Who gets recognized for it one way or another. And so that really fosters competition instead of relaxes that, which can be an issue. So yeah, the number one is simply to relax and to start, first of all, identifying who it is that might be a potential collaborator. All our organizations are human-based, right? Mm-hmm. So if I get along with you really well, the chances are my organizations will collaborate better because the leadership has a level of trust and understanding between each other. So number one is just starting to build networks and trust and cooperation on non-important things between each other in the circles that you run, right? In the people who have similar kinds of missions. You know, look at those Venn diagrams, right? And see where you overlap and you know, where your competitors are and your complementary folks are, and start just talking to them and having lunch or having a Zoom call. Form a little informal association where you all kind of get together and whine at each other to each other about how difficult life is or whatever it is, right? The point is to start building those relationships and then start looking at where maybe you have some mutual opportunities where you and the other organization that you trust bring to the table elements of something that your funder needs. And this is really important because I think it doesn't happen as much as honestly it should, is that a lot of folks, when you're looking for funding, look at, okay, that meets our need, right? But the organization who's offering the money, they have their need. You are simply to them the arms and legs for what they have in mind to meet their mission. So what can each of the partners bring to that table so that you can help that funder meet its mission? And look at it from their point of view. Look at it even to the point where you're dealing with a program officer. How can you help them look good by presenting your proposal, that collaboration, to the people who ultimately approve that funding? So take yourself out of it, relax, start talking to people, build networks, and then go and look at these opportunities from what they're trying to accomplish. And as long as that meets your goals and you're not conflicting or something, now, you know, build coalitions. It is, you know, in some respects, politics 101. There's a famous, you know, the Speaker of the House years ago, a fellow named Tip O'Neill from Boston, was famous for saying, you know, all politics is local, right? Doesn't matter what level. And it's the same thing here. All networking is person to person and building trust among your colleagues in other organizations so that then you can go in and all those problems will become much less so, and you'll work through them as long as there is trust starting from the top and that everybody feels like, you know, it's kind of a win-win for them.
I think the key words is trust.
Yeah.
Trust that when I talk with other organizations, no, they don't hidden agenda, and we share all the information. Yeah, that's
Well, and don't be afraid. You know what? Maybe the end of the day, you guys will get together and decide, you know, it's silly for us to have two organizations that are fundamentally doing the same thing. Why don't we just become one? But again, it comes back to, you know, how you trust people. Do you take your own ego? Because a lot of folks, you know, and let's face it, I grew up in a small business family, right? I've seen this. It's not just a nonprofit thing, right? When somebody founds an organization of whatever type, right, they have a lot of themselves invested in it.
yeah.
And it's hard to kind of bring in and be, you know, kind of have new ideas from other places or people. But again, relax, open yourself up to it, and you might find that, remember, 1-to-1 for one, that mission you are serving, that person who needs your help on the ground is better served if you get together, especially, you know, maybe a merger or some sort of close collaboration, as opposed to being apart and competing with each other.
Yeah, and to go back to leadership, it's selfless servanthood leadership and compassion, and you focus on the cause, not the ego and what I have
Well,
done.
and even more granular than the cause. I mean, the cause is, you're right, but it's that, get that person.
Yes.
Is that woman in your case, you know, what does she look like? What's her day-to-day struggles? How can you make her life easier and more fulfilling and just better by what you do. And maybe we can do it better together than we can separately.
Yeah. Thank you so much. There are so much amazing I learned through this minute interview.
I could blather about this stuff all day.
I think so. How if some people that watch this video want to connect with you, contact
Oh,
you? Is it how can you?
easiest the way to do it is to go to the Nonprofit.Courses website, find the contact link, go right there. That comes right to my email box, not a problem. It's at the bottom of every page, contact, and just fill out a short little form that gets things to me. I'm on LinkedIn, right? Matt Hug. There are only a couple of Matt Hugs out there, and we actually have kind of talk sometime. And but you'll see Nonprofit.Courses is on my LinkedIn page. You're welcome to do that. I really do encourage people to sign up for the emails. A lot of people find them very helpful, kind of keeps you current on things. Try to always give some meaningful content that way. And by the way, I teach fundraising, grant proposal writing, leadership at Thomas Edison State University in their Watson School of Public Service. They're all online courses, graduate courses. So if somebody wants a deeper dive into any of these things, I'm happy to see you there in class. You'll hear some of the things we talked about here and a lot more. I've at least the fundraising and grant writing courses I've written myself. So you'll see my smiling face on those videos.
Yeah, wonderful. And you have also books. If you're
Oh, yeah, true. I wrote a book on how to really get started in consulting in nonprofits. If anybody has an interest in that, I have a book. I made it for my teaching. It was Philander's Family Values. I basically set up a bunch of really I thought were funny and some people find offensive, which is good because you're going to run into that when you're out there. Character profiles and then apply fundraising questions to them. It was really for my teaching. I used it and still do sometimes for we'll read somebody's background and then we'll talk about that as that person as a donor. And then I wrote a chapter on marketing for nonprofits in a book, Healthcare. I forget the rest of the title. It's basically on healthcare and nonprofit management, and I did the two marketing chapters, yeah, they're all linked from the Nonprofit.Courses website.
wonderful. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for your
Oh,
time. And then we hope we keep in touch. And
yeah, for sure. And thank you very much. I am honored to be part of all this. I really think you guys are serving an important cause. Fariba, I think I mentioned to you my limited experience, although at a formative time in my life with folks who I guess we would today maybe call refugees from the situation back in the late 70s, early 80s. And yeah, it's you're doing good. I appreciate what you're up to. Thank you.